Hi guys, and welcome to the eBusiness Boss YouTube channel. Here I am, down in the corner. My name's Sam, and today I'm going to be starting the first video as a part of our mini-series about Amazon barcodes and FNSKU codes. So today's episode is about basically what barcode you need and where do you get them from. The next video we're going to be doing is what is an FNSKU and why do you need it. And then we're going to finish it off with how you actually apply these barcodes and FNSKU codes to your private label products. On that note, I previously did a video on private label listings and how to create them, as you can see here. And in that, I showed you where you add a product within Amazon Seller Central. And here is the bit I'm talking about. This is where you add your barcodes. And depending on your marketplace, depends on the type of barcode you put in here. So if you do the drop down here, you can see there's an EAN, and that would be for European sellers like us. We'd put our barcode in there as an EAN barcode, and I know in the US it's a UPC, so that's what you do there. So that's sort of building off a previous video that I did. We sort of got a bit of feedback and people were saying that they didn't actually know where to get their barcodes from. So that's inspired this video. So let's get into it. Yeah, so you basically have two options. You've got your sites, essentially I'm going to call them like your buy a barcode websites where you can get them from. And then you've also got GS1, which is like the official source. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the two different types now, the pros and cons, what we recommend, but then at the end of the day, it's down to you guys to make your decision on where you get them from. So what's the difference? Let's start with the buy a barcode websites. So for example, you literally can type that into Google, buy a barcode, and you get lots of different options here of various websites claiming that you can buy barcodes from them. One example I'll open up here is getabarcode.co.uk. There's similar sites for the US, but as you can see straight away, perfect for use at Amazon. So they're telling you that their barcodes are okay for you to use and create your private label listings with. I'm just going to run through the pros and cons now, because I don't think all is as it seems, and I think a lot of people perhaps don't realise that because of how these sorts of websites advertise. I'm not putting them down, and as you'll find out in a minute, I'm just letting you know. So the pros, the main pros are, if you buy from these sorts of sites, essentially you're going to be saving money. They're a lot cheaper. As you can see, you can buy them in bulk as well and get discounts that way. So that's a benefit. They're cheap and you can buy in bulk and get them even cheaper. However, I need to tell you about the pitfalls because it's very important. For example, these websites are not recommended by Amazon. They are not recommended by Amazon. That's not to say you can't use them, and some people do and use these codes and you can get away with it and maybe never be caught out, but Amazon do not recommend you use them. And by using these kinds of barcodes, you are putting yourself at risk because it can lead to your listings being shut down by Amazon. So that's the first thing first. Which moves me on to the fact that these aren't illegal, but they are risky. Essentially, try and think of them as sort of second-hand barcodes. So you can't really use them as unique identifiers for your product, which is essentially what a barcode should be. So again, that should have alarm bells ringing slightly. And what I mean by that is, so for example, they might still be in use by another product. So a barcode that's on one of these websites that you purchase might actually be in use with another product completely different to yours. That's a risk. Secondly, it might be linked to an old product. So although a product may not be on the market anymore, this barcode they give you may be traced back to that product instead of yours. And again, that isn't ideal. And finally, it might be a replicated code that isn't searchable within the GS1 system. And I'll talk about GS1 in a moment. So it might just be a code that isn't even recognized by GS1. And again, that isn't what you want. Finally, these codes, I mean, I doubt there's any retail stores that will accept them. There may be some, but hardly any retail stores will accept these kind of barcodes. You need to have GS1 barcodes for retail stores to accept. So the reason I've mentioned that is you might be an Amazon seller who's thinking of expanding and maybe selling in other retail stores. And if you were to do that, you wouldn't be able to use one of these barcodes. They wouldn't accept your product. So there's the summary basically of these kinds of websites and buying these kinds of barcodes. So yeah, that's that covered. Now moving on to GS1. So as I said, GS1 is like the official source. So it's the only place where you can get barcodes that also provide you with a GS1 certificate for starters, but a unique company prefix, which basically means that barcode is linked to your product, your brand, your company only. This is the only source you can get it from. I'm going to start with the drawback, the first drawback with GS1 barcodes, and it is definitely the fact that they are more expensive. So for example, again, you can find GS1 barcode just by typing it in Google, but I've opened up the UK site here and the US site here. But yeah, on the price, they are more expensive, and I think that's why a lot of people on initial searches, like I showed you a moment ago, will go for the other options because one, they say they're legitimate, and two, they're pretty cheap. So GS1 is official, but they are more expensive. But let's go on to the pros. So you can buy in bulk with GS1, and you can also get membership fees, so you can reduce the cost of your barcodes. The membership fees are for people selling lots of products a year, admittedly, but that option is there. Big point, because you're probably looking at this if you're an Amazon seller, it is a requirement by Amazon. It is a policy of theirs that any barcode that you use for a private label product should be a GS1 barcode. So you're essentially taking the risk of breaking their terms of service when you don't use a GS1 barcode. So you know, that's something to bear in mind. What else is there? Again, I mentioned how the buy a barcode sites are almost like a second-hand version of a barcode, whereas these ones from GS1 are unique to you. They're unique to your product, your brand, your company, and nobody else can use them. So yeah, you feel a bit more safe and secure with them. And with that, as I mentioned earlier, what you can't do with the buy a barcodes is have the opportunity to branch out and sell in other retailers. Again, with the GS1 barcode, all retailers accept them. So you're giving yourself that opportunity for expansion beyond Amazon, which is always good. You should always be looking to diversify your business and not just be reliant on one stream. So yeah, that's sort of both types of barcode summarized for you. As you can probably tell, I lean towards one rather than the other, but just to summarize, if your decision is going to be price driven, then basically you should be going for the buy a barcode options. But with that, you should be knowing that you're taking a huge risk, that although Amazon may let you put that barcode in and create your listing and nothing may show up immediately, you are putting yourself at risk at Amazon finding out and then shutting down that listing. And you might have put in all that hard work, got yourself ranking, got yourself selling, got all those reviews, and then Amazon go, hang on a minute, this isn't a GS1 barcode, and just taking your listing away. So it is your choice, but again, like I said, if it's all about price for you, then go ahead and try those out. But if you're about doing things properly, which hopefully you are, we certainly are, get yourself a GS1 barcode. It's an investment. I know it might be more, but you pay for what you get, and with that you get safety, knowing that you're safe on Amazon and also elsewhere should you want to branch out. And it's just the right thing to do. It's the official channel, so that's what you should be doing. So as you can probably tell, what I recommend, or what we recommend at eBusiness Boss, is that you get yourself GS1 barcodes for your private label listings. It's just the way to go. Do things properly, and then you set yourself up to have a long, successful business. So that's sort of barcodes covered. It is a confusing topic, and that's why we wanted to do this, because like I said, a lot of people buy them from these other sites without knowing the intricacies. Now you can make an informed decision. If you still want to go with the buy a barcode sites, fine, but now you know GS1 is probably the way to go. So what we're going to be looking at, like I said, look out for the next 2 episodes, because we're going to be covering what an FNSKU is. That's something that's generated once you create your Amazon listing, and what you do with that. And then finally, how you take these barcodes and FNSKUs and apply them to your private label product. So check those out. Hopefully you've liked this video. If you have, please give it a like. Give the eBusiness Boss page a subscribe. And also, please feel free to leave any comments. negative and positive feedback. We'll take it all on, and also any questions, and if there's future video suggestions, anything you're confused about, anything you want clearing up that we might be able to help with. If we can't help immediately, we'll go and do the research and find out for you. So yeah, comment, like, subscribe, and thank you for tuning in. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.